Music matters. Mari Taylor.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you doing this.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Everybody's got to get on a little podcast. You were saying you never been on one.
Yeah, this is lit. I feel official.
Hey, we feel official having you.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you been the past couple weeks? Any big music stuff going on or what? You been busy?
I've actually just been chilling.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a thing, got to deal with like the social media posting and things of that nature. But I've kind of just been chilling, trying to stay on like a personal tip, personal self-care, trying to get back into that whole thing because I feel like doing music, I kind of lost track of that. Just being so busy and, here, there. But yeah.
You think you used to have like a better handle on that before you got you started, getting more and more into the music stuff, or did that kind of take away from that?
Yeah, it did. I was on it. I still could have been better at it, but I was on it a little bit more than before the music. Cause like when the music came, I'm traveling, I'm in the studio all the time, and by the time I'm getting free time, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I'm putting myself last,
I feel that.
It was bad.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like self-care type stuff. If you're if you want to do stuff like read or do stuff like go for a walk, go outside, whatever, it's hard to like make time for that and music. It's hard to do like everything. You can only do so much.
It really is.
I'm gonna move this mic in front of you a little more.
Alrighty. Yeah, it was like to the point where I started like feeling like lightweight guilty for doing other things besides music, because I felt like I had this task like in front of me. So it's like, until this task is complete, like, don't do anything else.
Yeah.
And it was weird because it's like, that should never be the case.
Are you a workaholic? Do you get like stressed out if you're not always working?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate downtime. Like, it's hard for me to like kind of figure out like what to do. But like I said, that self-care has been like kicking back in to where if I do have that downtime, I'm like, let me go get a new like face product. Let me like play with my dog.
Yeah.
Like just random, like regular shit,
That's like the biggest de-stressor for me. I don't know why, but playing with my dog, like if I'm locked in my room, like editing interviews for hours or like working on stuff, scheduling, whatever, if I get too stressed out, I'll walk out of my room and just find my dog and just sit with him. And for whatever reason, it makes me feel like a million times better.
For real, I woke up at like 7 this morning and it was just like, he was staring at me, I was staring at him. I'm just like, bro, come up. 'Cause that's my thing. Like, I do not like my dog, like, on my bed and stuff. I just kind of, like, move. But today, I just was cool with him, like, just fucking with him. And then after a while, I'm like, all right, bro.
And they always know how you're feeling, too. Like, I feel like my dogs, for real, like, know when I'm, like, if I'm pissed, like, my dogs know to not, like, come near me.
They got that look.
Yeah, they're like, oh, shit. So, what part of the Bay are you originally from?
I'm from Oakland. I'm from 55th and East 16th, like, exactly. East Oakland, yes.
So are you still living out there? Have you moved out?
Yeah, I moved to LA. I'm kind of in the process of figuring out what I want to do as far as like coming back to the Bay, because LA is like, it's a dope place, but it's different. I heard a lot about it being different before I moved there, but it was kind of like whatever. Like, I love LA. I'm going to go out there. But now that I've been out there for like 6 months, it's kind of like, I see what everybody kind of says. Like, it just has no real culture, no real vibe for me. Like, when I got back to the Bay, I instantly was like, oh, yes, I'm back. Like, I feel something. When I get to LA, you don't really feel too much, So, yeah, I'm in LA right now, but I have plans on moving back.
I feel like because LA is kind of like an amalgamation of like a bunch of different cultures all going to one place to do one thing.
Exactly. Especially, like, I was in North Hollywood. And that's kind of like a melting pot. Like, you got your LA people who are just like, YG. And those type of people, they like act like LA people, like Compton, Inglewood. They have their culture going on. But up in like North Hollywood and stuff, like you said, it's that melting
it's all
pot.
People move from different places.
Ohio, here, there. Everybody wants to be from LA, though. It's like super weird.
That's super interesting to hear because honestly, to be honest with you, because I'm looking at moving down there, and like it's been weird. Like recently, the past couple months, stuff here has been picking up. Like above the bridge stuff's been getting a little bit bigger. We've been getting more opportunities and stuff, and then it almost makes me feel like do I need to be there, like I would imagine it's hard to like, if for you I would imagine it's hard to like tote that line and try to decide like, do I need to be there? Can I do what I do from where I'm from? Like, it's weird, right?
And that's the whole like reason I have this question in my head, like, do I come home or do I stay? Because the idea I had moving there was like, okay, things will pick up there. Like, it's gonna be easy for me to get in there. Like, I have this deal, I had all this shit going on, but it wasn't like that. it's like I'm at home. Like they're calling me to be back at home more now. It was like when I left, now home is booming. Now like I'm getting like screenshots of them playing my song in the club, and I'm feeling like I should be there. Like, you know, I know all the DJs. I should be connecting. Outside is opening back up, and I'm here like trying to figure it out or trying to fit in, trying to see where they can play my song. And at home, like, it's already like sewn up. I feel like I just kind of took myself out of it, and I felt like I don't really need to be in LA like that.
Did you feel like you had to before you left?
Yes, most definitely. I had this like warped idea of it, like LA is the place you get to make these things happen. You know, LA is the place that makes these things happen. Definitely not. It's basically at home, and once home is all it can be, then I would suggest going there. Like, I don't think moving in the middle of like a pivotal point for any business or anybody doing anything, I don't think it's smart to just go out there.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me, especially when you're from like where you and I are from. When you're from the Bay Area, I don't think we realize that like outside of LA, the Bay Area is like the best place to be for entertainment in California. Like it arguably like in the country, it's like one of the better places. It's not like we grew up in the middle of like Ohio. You know what I mean? Like the Bay Area has an incredible amount of culture and it has an incredible amount of music specifically. So it's like, do you really need to be there? I also think with COVID, it's been kind of interesting too, because I feel like entertainment is slowly decentralizing itself because we're getting so used to being online for everything.
Most definitely. And that has been a crazy transition for me because I'm not an online type of person, but it's like making me be, is causing me to be. So yes, most definitely. And for some reason, COVID is like really COVIDing in LA. Like the Bay it is too, but it's just a little bit more that you can still do. Like LA is like really shut down, and maybe that was the reason why I feel the way I feel, because I can't do anything there. It's like, damn, like this is not the LA I remember. You know, maybe this just whole COVID thing is doing it as well.
Yeah, a lot of it, I guess, might be like the politics in California, and there's still a lot of stuff that's shut down. Which I mean, I'm not. It's not. I don't even think that's a bad thing. I think it's good to stay safe. But
for sure.
Even like being down there, because did you? Okay, so when you moved, how close was that to the time you signed your deal?
I'm gonna say when did I do some calculations. I'm gonna say it was like really soon after, like October-ish.
Because so Empire, most of their operations are based up here, or is there more stuff going down in LA too? Is it both, or is it still the Bay?
Shout out to Ghazi too, because he's trying to make like the Bay the new LA.
I like that.
How everybody wants to, like how me want to be in LA, get to LA and break. Like he's having people come up to the Bay. Like, you know, you got the biggest stars right there in San Francisco. Like, whoa, like I'm in the studio with.
To now we're playing right.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? So,
if anybody's gonna do that, it's gonna be Ghazi.
You feel me? He's always doing something. He's always doing something. But yeah, it's the Bay. Like I feel like I took myself out of it really soon. Like when things were starting to bubble, I left. You know what I'm saying? I left right in the middle of it, to where it's like I caused that hype to like die on my own though. You know what I'm saying? Thinking I'm doing something to help myself. I feel like, you know, you live and you learn, but I feel like it was more so at my detriment than my benefit. Cause like I said, I just left and everything was booming and they were looking for me. Like, hey, Mari, come out to the club this weekend. I live in LA now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now I'm like a real citizen. I have a job and like I can't call off. I can't, you know, do these things. And it was like back to back to back. And then I just tallied up all of my, not missed opportunities, but things I had to decline just because I was 6 hours away, you know?
That's super interesting, because I feel like everybody's head who isn't really in the space thinks the opposite is true.
Yes.
They think you have to move from where you're from to get these opportunities in LA, but it sounds like it's not the case.
Experience is the best teacher, though. And I feel like if I wouldn't have done it, I wouldn't have known that, no, that's not how it works. But I'm not taking anything away from LA, because I got, in the short amount of time I've been there, I've connected with a lot of people, but mostly through like Empire Connection. Like Clayton has someone down there that he can introduce me to, or this person has this person down there. Like, like it just all ends up working out. So I'm not taking anything away from the experience, but I definitely miss home.
How was that like getting signed and getting all those opportunities to network and meet more people? Like, do you feel like it significantly increased the connections you could make and the people you could work with?
Most definitely. Empire gave me that space to be amongst these people that like I've listened to for a long time, look up to, kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just put me in that circle. So yeah, it just taught me how to move and navigate in these places, just period. You know what I'm saying? Because I've already been exposed. They've already put me in this realm. So definitely, I've been connected. I haven't stopped connecting since.
That's super sick.
So yeah.
I think it's cool too if somebody from the Bay, I mean, when you sign to a record label like Empire, you know for a fact what they're doing is genuine. You know for a fact what they're doing is homegrown. It's from here. I feel the same way about like on the rock side of stuff, like bands who signed to Pure Noise is like the same thing as like hip hop artists who signed to Empire. It's like they're both like Bay Area labels that are based in the Bay Area, and everything they do kind of surrounds Bay Area music.
Most definitely.
Which is a pretty cool thing. And it's, I mean, I guess maybe I'm biased to come from the Bay, but it's like watching people sign to a label that they grew up listening to all their artists. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, and it's dope because it has like, your Bay artists there, but like I said, you got everybody coming through there. Like, I could name drop for days, but it's just cool to be like this Bay kid signed to this Bay label and able to be around, all of these people, not just Bay artists. It's cool to be known amongst these other Bay artists because they are there, but man, the network is limitless there.
Growing up in Oakland, and you said East Oakland, right? Where you grew up?
Yeah. Yep.
What was your upbringing like there?
It was cool. People got their stories about East Oakland and just growing up in a Bay period, but I really didn't have a bad life. Like, everything that came as a struggle to me, I did it. All self-inflicted. Just wanting to be out and wanting to be and all of this stuff, but I really had a great upbringing. I was raised by my grandmother and my great-grandmother because my parents passed. Well, my dad died like a few years ago, 2 years ago, but my mom has been dead for a long time, since I was like 3, so I was raised by them. My pops was locked up. Private school.
Raised by, you said your grandparents it was? Or?
Yeah, my great-grandmother and my grandmother.
Okay.
My grandpops wasn't around like that. Like, I don't know, the dudes in my family are tomato.
Yeah.
But I got raised by them. Private school. I was in church every weekend. I didn't go to public school until senior year. I went to Skyline, graduated from Skyline.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, I stayed in the middle of a lot of crazy stuff, but it was like my block was like cool. Like,
I get it.
They like I was on a quiet block. I grew up like, it's like right next to seminary, so everything happens over there, but yeah, my upbringing was pretty smooth.
Transitioning from, so you said you went to private school and then transitioning to go to like Skyline your senior year. Yeah. How different was that going from like a private school setting to a public school setting?
It was very, very different, but I'm so grateful that I went when I went because it like prepared me for the real world right before I went. You know what I'm saying? Like right before it was time for me to experience the real world, I was able to get some low-key real-world experience because private school is nothing like the real world.
Yeah, that's what all my friends that went to private school that I made friends with like after high school. Yeah. They all say the same thing. They all say like too, like looking at the way that like kids who went to public school versus kids who went to private school act is like vastly different.
Definitely, and that's why I'm glad that I got it when I did. Like I'm kind of like hybrid with it because
it's cool.
If I would have grew up like straight private school kid, like we would not be sitting here having this conversation. Yeah. Like, it took me a minute because when I got to Skyline, like, I was shell-shocked, like, nervous. I went to school the first 2 months, like, literally shaking. Every time I hit my first class hallway, I just got, like, real cold. Like, my anxiety started being really weird, and it was like this for a long time. Like 2 months, a month. And then I was just kind of like, I started seeing people I know. Mm-hmm. They started finding out I could sing, and then it started putting me in with these popular crowds that, like, even to this day, I'm still cool with,
So you started singing before you ever rapped?
Oh, yeah. I grew up in the church. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was in a choir from the whole, since I can remember, I was in a choir.
Yeah.
So, yeah, music has always been just like a thing for me.
When did you originally get into rapping after singing?
Well, I came out with my first song that I took serious in 2014, senior year.
Uh-huh.
That was like when I was like, okay, I can do this. I want to do this.
Yeah.
I want a deal. I want to be famous. Like, I want to do the whole thing. So, yeah, I'm going to say 2014 is when I was like, all right. Or I'm going to say
Wow, so you've been doing this for a long time.
a minute, right? Like,
Yeah.
I started getting recognition, I should say, in 2014. But I always would do, like, little stuff, like write songs for me and my siblings. Or, you know, my uncle bought me my first notebook because I would, like, take people's raps that I feel like he ain't heard before and be like, Uncle, look what I wrote. And he's like, you did not write that, but here's this book for you to write your own raps.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my first one was like, I was 18, 2014.
Wow, that's crazy that it took that long for you to get to where you are now. What was like your motivation to keep going since you did music for that long? Just your love for it, or?
Yeah, like I always had this vision of being where I'm at right now. That's why I try not to be so hard on myself, even though I'm not I'm not in all the places I want to be, but this is something I did like dream about. I saw it for myself. Even as far as it being Empire, like I literally saw this for myself. So just having that vision and seeing it all the way through, and now I feel like I'm never gonna stop because it can happen. Like it can happen. It's not a maybe thing or what if type of thing. I saw it happen by me just not stopping. Before I got my deal, my views I was doing like 100 views in 10 months. You feel me? Like, that's hella discouraging. And I always said, if I don't do anything by the age of 25, I'm going regular. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to probably go back to school, further my education. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to do the whole regular shit because obviously this is not for me. So I don't think it's by coincidence that 25... Here comes everything I ever said I wanted, you know?
The way I think about that is almost like, I don't really think failure is a thing unless you allow failure to be a thing. I feel like it's almost a state of mind. Like, I feel like if you don't allow yourself to fail by just keep going and keep going, I don't think, like, you can't fail. You know, if you just keep trying, you can't fail. What do you think, like, through all that time when you were coming up, what do you think like are the biggest things that set you apart to be able to take your stuff to the next level? Like, when did stuff get traction and what kind of things did you have to do to get there?
Okay, well, like I said, I was doing like 100 views, 10 months, but I had a plan because I had saw these things happen for people around me. Like, they had this formula of dropping the music and the visual at the same time. That's something I've never done. Like, something never delivered for me. Like, either I would have the video and the audio is not ready, or I have the audio and the video is not ready. So once I saw that formula, my last single, Drowning, I was like, okay, we gonna do this the right way. I invested in myself a lot too. I was cheating myself a lot during this whole 10 years, 8 years. I was cheating myself. Like,
What do you mean by cheating?
shortcutting it out. Like,
I get it, yeah.
I could have been shot with the person who shot Drowning, but I would rather pay $250 over $800 any day. Like, but that's what that was getting me. You know what I'm saying? 100 views. And I don't, no disrespect to the shooters or nothing like that, but the moment that I was like, all right, I'm gonna pay $800 for this videographer. I'm gonna pay all three of these dancers $250 each. I'm gonna pay for this studio time in Baltimore, so I have to book a flight. You know, once I just gave it all I had into myself, this is what came from it. So I think the fact that I just stuck to that and stopped half-assing myself, like, you know, just gave it my all. And I think that's what a lot of people don't do. Give it their all. Everybody's looking for the easy way. And I just know from experience, I feel like that was working for me. Like, you know, fuck it. If I don't got the video, I'll drop the audio. Fuck it. If I don't got the audio, I'll drop the video. No, this time I was like, no, we're going to do this the right way because it's proven that's what works. I'm watching it happen for everybody around me. So at some point, I'm like, okay, we're just going to do this. And as soon as we did that, boom.
It's like giving yourself a way out.
Yes.
at a certain point, you have to stop giving yourself a way out. Like, you just have to make the jump, you know?
Yep, for real. And just be all into it. And I was like, wow, like, I'm glad I took that jump because I could have did that. I could have took the easy way out with that record. But I just felt, it wasn't really a feeling, too, with that song that I had that was like, oh, this is the one. Like, it's really the one. I felt it when I recorded it, when I got the mix back. I was in Baltimore, too. It was just like, I knew it. And I think that feeling came because of, you know, I knew everything I put into it. It's no way it can't work. Like, you gave this your all. You can finally say you gave something your all. Like, down to your last dollar.
Yeah.
You don't even have gas money, bro, but you got that video finna come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have no money in your pocket right now, but you have that. And I'm so happy I did it.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I did an interview with some artists from the city like a couple days ago, and one quote that my guy Xanabis brought up, shout out Xanabis, but he brought up this quote to me. He said, as an artist, you have to get used to being hungry. You have to get used to not being comfortable. You have to get used to being scared.
Yes.
Because until you're willing to have those things happen to you, until you're willing to put that much into it, you won't make it.
For real. Like, you really won't. It's no way. Because that's just kind of what comes with this. And I think it only comes with it because we have to learn to grow past it. Because that's just what comes with this industry. So it's like I said, experience is the best teacher. You have to experience these things so that you know?
Yeah.
So I definitely feel that. Shout out to the guy you said.
Xanabis.
That quote.
Yep.
Xanabis, shout out to you.
Xanabis, yeah.
Yes, definitely. And I've been hungry and tired and broke many a times just trying to do this.
Were you while you were trying to make music work for all those years? What were you doing? Working minimum wage jobs? Like, were you just kind of trying to do the whole job thing?
Yep, job thing. I remember I was coming home from McDonald's with my checks, and I didn't have a bank account at the time, and I would tell my mom, like, hey mom, can you upload this? Can you put this money on your card so that I can send it to this videographer? I need to send this to shoot it. And she asked me, you're sending all of this money out to them. When are they going to pay you? But, like, she didn't even understand what I was doing at the time. Like, all I wanted to do was buy Jordans and shoot music videos. That was literally it with my, McDonald's money. And then it got to the point where, like, that wasn't working for me anymore. And I just started having to base these things. Like, good relationships are also very important in this industry. So luckily I had a good name and a good rep for myself, because when money wasn't enough or I didn't have that, I could use like the relationships I had. People were willing to do these things for me because they believed in me that much. And they knew that one day, like, we would be here. And it's crazy that those people are not around anymore. And it's like, damn, like, if only you just believed a little bit longer, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was working jobs and doing crazy stuff, like selling my jewelry.
Yeah, whatever it took.
My games, like trying to sell my car. Like, it was so crazy, but literally everything it took.
Well, what was it like when you first got like a little bit of financial freedom from this? Like, what was that feeling like, and when did that come?
It still ain't came, to be honest.
Yeah.
Of course, you get your advance and you get paid for features and things like that. But when you live in real life, you got rent.
Of course,
You gotta eat. You have a car note. You have gas. You have this. You have that. You have to buy clothes. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I still ain't reached no financial freedom from this. But that's why I keep going, because I have a vision of being financially free. I see what my house is going to look like. I know I'm going to be in a Benz. Like, I constantly tell myself these things, and I know it's going to happen because I said, I'm going to be signed to Empire. I'm going to have a song that blows. These people are going to know my name. You know what I'm saying? And it's happened. So that's why I just feel like I gotta stick with it until that happens. And a lot of people ask me, like, well, what do you do this for? Like, that is the biggest question. And I think that's it, to be financially free. Like, I didn't have, growing up, like, struggles of being hungry, lights off, and things like that. But I've always felt like I couldn't have what I wanted. or do things that I wanted to do for like my grandmother or my great grandmother or my dad. And I feel like I ran out of time a little bit because like my great grandmother died, my dad died. And I was like, damn, like, so I feel like I can do those things now if I just stick with it because things are happening, you know? So maybe just timing was wrong, but I'm still trying to be financially free, bro.
That makes sense.
Hard.
Growing up and trying, you know, when you were growing up and you say that it was hard to like see certain things you couldn't have. It was hard to find that sense of financial freedom. Was music an escape for that at all? Like, did you grow up around music heavily? Was that something that was gigantic role in your upbringing?
Yeah, but like it's not anything I wrote about. Like even now, I'm actually learning to talk about these struggles and things because I'm so into like manifesting things. I kind of talk about the person I see myself being, or the person that I want to be, or the person I feel like I am. But now that I'm getting more into my artistry, it's like people relate to who you are right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to actually get into writing about those struggles and actually using it as my escape. I don't think I've ever done that with any of my music.
And it's a hard thing to do because it's like a balance of like honesty, but then it's also like hard to put yourself out there that much. And you think like, oh, if I put myself out there, are people gonna like fuck with it, or will they not like it? Will they like it?
Are they gonna start looking at me different now that they know my real life? Like, do I gotta keep it like this so that they do mess with me? But it's like I can't even worry about that anymore because the truth is the truth, and I feel like it'll bring in who it's supposed to bring in. If my truth scares you away or makes you not want to fuck with me no more, you never did, you know? So I'm trying to just keep that in mind as I get into like these newer projects, just this vulnerability aspect of things and knowing that somebody can relate to this.
Did you ever play music in the church growing up, or was it all just singing?
I sang. I played the drums. I played piano. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are those things you still do a lot, or do you kind of have other people handle production? You just do vocal stuff and writing.
Yeah, I love the drums. Like that's my favorite thing to do when I get mad.
Me too.
I just don't have a set right now, so
yeah, I feel
I'll like go to my church sometimes and like lock myself in and like play there. The piano. I'm trying to get back into it because I find that it's something that it does to me when I play. But I've noticed I've been playing the same like 3 songs for like 10 years. And I'm like, this is not okay. Yeah. So it's something I definitely want to pick back up and like get back into. Because I remember like being heavy on it, having piano lessons every Thursday and like being excited to come home with new music and learn it, you know? So it's something I'm trying to get back into.
I feel you with the drumming as an escape thing. I'm a drummer too. I've played since I was like 15 or 14 or something, but that's like dope. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but it's the same thing for me. It's like a physical release, you know what I mean? Like it's very much a physical release.
You know, and then it's like I also just like it. Like that's my thing. Outside of being an artist, I wouldn't mind like playing for somebody or like background vocaling for somebody. Like, I just really love what I do. Like,
just love music.
Yeah, even though I'm trying to be financially free and this and that, it ain't happened yet, and I'm still doing this. Yeah. So it just lets me know that it's something I really love. And when we talk about passions, it's something I can say is a passion. That's been a thing for me. Like, what am I passionate about? What do I really care for? What do I really like to do? Music is there.
And then I guess speaking on that, it kind of goes to finding any way you possibly can to make music a career. Like I know lots of musicians that they not only make music, but they do production on the side. They do features, they book shows, they like they teach music, do whatever.
No, for sure.
Like people that do it's about making music your career in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, like keeping a job, like to where it's like, okay, yeah, this might be a 9 to 5, but it doesn't feel like a 9 to 5 because I want to do this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like compared to like me doing music, but I'm going to work at Big 5. Yeah. I hoop and I play sports and stuff, but I don't want to be here. Yeah. Like this is not in the realm. Like, I wouldn't want to work at a studio, be a receptionist. Like I'm willing to not step back from it, but put this hat down to put another hat on and then put that one off and put another one on. But it has to be the same brand.
In the same wheelhouse.
Yes, exactly.
And also when you take jobs like that, they often help your career. Like I found like I've done Above the Bridge now for it's like 3.5, like approaching 4 years. And And then like what it started as was nothing like this, but it's always been in the realm of music. And now where it's like I'm getting older and I'm looking at like moving and stuff, and it's like I'm trying to look for other opportunities in the same industry that I can do outside of this to make me money while I'm still growing this. And now it's like I've been doing the same thing. I've been getting back into drumming. I'm been booking shows to play for local artists and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's cool because it reminds you of why you started everything. You know what I mean?
Definitely. It's just very conflicting when you have like people around you like, why would you want to do that? Like, you're the artist. Like, stop looking for a plan B. Like, you're not a drummer. You're not a studio receptionist. You're not a background vocalist. You are this. Keep doing this. And I don't think that people realize that does bring that satisfaction back. Like, okay, I really do love this because I started off here before all of this. You know what I'm saying?
It's how you don't get burnt out.
Yes.
It's how you keep loving the thing that you're pursuing. Because if you're really pushing, I mean, I'm sure you'll relate to this. If you're really pushing something and really pursuing something for a significant amount of time, like you have been doing, you have to do things that still make you love it, or else you'll just stop.
Yeah.
And then what's it for?
It'll start feeling like those jobs that you do not like.
Exactly.
And I've, in the recent months, started feeling like that. And that's why I felt like it was vital and mandatory for me to get back into me. Whether it is like I said, playing with my dog, going for a walk, talking to my mom a little bit more, having like quality time with my niece and my nephew, because I'm starting to feel like this is a job. And I know no way is my passion turning into that. So, I just had to switch it up and, like you said, find that thing that'll bring that life back into it.
You got to remember how to balance too.
Yeah,
especially, I mean, you talking about your nieces and your nephews and your grandma and everything. It's really easy when you get super sucked into your passion to just only think about yourself and not what you mean to the people around you.
Exactly.
I can be really bad about that. I often think that I often feel guilty for not spending enough time with my mom or my dad or my brothers. And then it's like, you got to take a step back and remember that like the people around you really do love you, and your presence to them really does matter.
Most definitely. When you might feel like it doesn't to anybody else, these people, like, regardless of you doing this or that, like, they really love and care about you. And I think that's what's been my saving grace too, like in these last couple of months, and just even influencing my decision to come back. Just knowing that I have that here, Not saying that I don't have people that love and care about me in LA, because I know that they do, but it doesn't compare to that. Like, people being happy when I walk in the room. Yes, like my niece and my nephews, they make me feel like the star before Instagram can, or before, I don't know, whoever can. You know what I'm saying? Like, really are excited to see me. Don't want me to leave. Like, that is really what I'm looking for. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, to have that is really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, of course.
I love it.
And I think it goes back to remember, like, it goes back to think it's like, home is home. And there's like almost like nothing that can really like change that. You know what I mean?
For
like,
sure.
and it's like when people say, like I know for a fact, if I moved to LA or move some other place, wherever, it's just never gonna feel like the Bay Area to me.
Ever.
And that might not even be because the Bay Area is a nice place in the world, because I don't even think it is.
Right.
It's just because it's where you're from. It's where all your memories are made. Every happy experience that you have growing up is related to the place that you grew up in, and nowhere else. I don't feel like anywhere else could feel like home.
Never. And I tried to stay there to kind of try to get out of that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to be the Bay Area. It'll never feel like that. But I don't know. It's like,
I get it.
Every day I'm just like telling the universe my intentions and hoping that it works with me.
Yeah, that's real. Have you ever gotten into like production? Have you ever tried to like self-produce any of your tracks? I mean, because I know you're an instrumentalist, or do you just mainly focus on like your writing and stuff?
Yeah, just writing and stuff. I want to learn how to produce, but I'll save that probably for down the line. I went to school though for audio engineering, so
oh wow,
it's easy for me to record myself and do things like that. But the production, it'd be too much going on. It'd be too many inputs, too many devices. This pad, this keyboard, that program. Nah,
it's a lot.
Not yet. Not yet.
How long did you go to school for?
I went to school for, they would consider it a whole academic year, but it was only like 10 months or like 11 months. Like 1 year was like, I graduated in 1 year.
Yeah.
It was like weird because the way that they do their program, I went to Expression, it turned into SAE, but it's like 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, you're done. You know? And yeah, that was cool. But
was it something that helped your career? Like, do you feel like it was worth it and it was worth the time?
no. No, definitely not. I just feel like for artists, going to school for that is the easiest way to make it start feeling like a burden or like a thing, because now you got this homework that you have to do and you got to do this and do that, when all I wanted to do was just learn to record myself. And that's kind of like was my plan at first. Like I tried to drop out after that, but I just felt like it didn't make sense because I already owe these people like $15,000, so I might as well get all into it. Then you learn how to like rap chords and do all this extra stuff. It's you know, smart to learn it, but
you can teach it all yourself.
You know what I'm saying? YouTube is like my friend now. Like I can go to YouTube
Me too.
and learn what I just paid $15,000 for. Okay,
YouTube's insane.
Great. Like you can learn anything on there.
Anything, like everything, all of this entire setup, what I wanted to get, how to use it. I mean, literally like just random shit I do in my life. Like I learned so much from YouTube, like an incredible amount from YouTube. It's
definitely YouTubeable. Do not spend $15,000.
Especially like for me, I grew up with such like a product of the internet. I grew up with such like an internet kid that like, I mean, it was almost like learning a bunch of stuff through YouTube. It felt natural to me.
No,
like it
for
felt,
real. Like this is my teacher. I love YouTube. Yeah, most definitely.
Those are the real kids that school failed.
No, for real.
Growing up and like entering the music industry as not only a woman but like somebody who's part of the LGBTQ community, were those things that you felt like played a role in how people looked at you as you came up through the industry?
No, because it wasn't until recent that I really just started, I'm not gonna say brandishing it or like, just this is like recently is when I started associating myself to LGBTQ. And it's crazy because like, you know, you can look at me and perceive it however, you know, you want. But I never just came out and was like, yes, these are my people. I'm rocking with them. So I don't feel like it played a part until recently. And it's actually for the better. Like,
oh, cool.
I really love that I finally was able to just come out because like I grew up with older people and it just wasn't a thing to just be out telling your business. Like, you know, that was always what my mom said. Like, when you go out, people don't need to know what happens in this house. They don't need to know your mom's dead, your dad's in jail, things like that. So I kind of grew up with that mindset to where it was like even about my sexuality. I don't need to tell people that. If you can't look at me and tell, then hey, whatever you say, you know?
Yeah.
But once I found out that like I have just a whole fan base and community based off of me being me, you know, and them loving me for me being one of them, like I gotta give y'all more than what I have. I can at least say like I rock with y'all and you know, I really appreciate the whole movement and what it's doing, and actually trying to, you know, Tina Davis, shout out to Tina Davis, she told me something like, because like I said, I even expressed to her how I'm just kind of like not going to do that. And she's like, you can't cut yourself out when you can do a lot for the group. Like, you can do a lot for the LGBTQ community. You are one of them. You don't know what you can be doing for the aspiring 13-year-old lesbian rapper who feels like she can't do it because she's gay. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, be that person. Be that change within any community. And I think that's what stuck out to me the most, to where I was like, you know what? You right. Because I remember feeling like that at a time. Like, I can't do it. Like, because I look like this. Because I'm like this. And now look, like, we running shit. Like, it's our industry right now. Like, you know? So, yeah, definitely feel like not getting into the industry, I don't feel like it affected it like that. But now that I'm in, it's definitely affecting it for the better, though.
That's super awesome. Because that was like... Because honestly, like that, I don't know, that's an encouraging thing to hear. You know, that this industry has moved to a place where it's not only it's no longer a hindrance at all, and it's more of it makes it easier for you.
No, for real. Like, actually, the more in tune with your sexuality that you are, the further you can go.
How do you feel about being a woman and navigating through the industry? Did you ever deal with like the female rapper bullshit? Like, was that ever?
Yeah, it's this weird little thing they keep trying to do with me and artists, other female artists, it's kind of like a bump heads thing.
Yeah.
They want me to kind of go against people either from Oakland or people that I sound like, and I'm not with that. Even with dudes, like I'm not gonna, because I know the space I hold. So that has been very weird for me, or feeling like I should be offered lower than my worth. Like I've been told my prices to certain male artists, and they're like, that's cool, but I was thinking kind of like this. Like, like what?
Yeah.
This is what I'm paying. But you have a feature with this person who's way bigger than me. And I doubt that you did that with him, So that's been a thing. But the way I handle shit is so player that people are just like, you know, like let me give you what you worth. Matter of fact, here go $200 more, So it's been a thing. It's been a challenge. Or I'm not even gonna say a challenge because I know how to work around them, but it has been a thing, like the whole like women to men stereotype in the industry. It's definitely real too. Like they really try to take advantage of women.
I mean, just think about the way like the female rappers are branded. Like you said, it's like they're not rappers. It's like they pit them against each other. They're put in some like different class. Like it's almost like, oh, like who's your favorite female rapper? You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean?
Rapper?
Like
exactly. Like we aren't just all rappers. Like we're here, and like the rest of the rappers are here. You know? Like,
exactly.
It's really weird. It's really weird. But even still, though, if that's what we're gonna be. I had to find a way to make my name known amongst female rappers. I can do it within this whole population, but if we're over here, then shit, even there, I have to try to be me and let even the female rappers know who Maury is,
I like the way you look at like problems and like challenges. Like it seems like the way you describe like the way you've overcome them, it's almost like you try to put a positive spin on things and like look at stuff from a positive light and figure out the solution.
I would be crazy, bro, if I didn't. Because like it's easy for me to pinpoint these negative things. Like my whole life, I feel like has been just negative. Like who does that? Like mom dies at 3, dad goes to jail until 13. And then dies when I'm 23. Like I feel like my whole life has been negative. So it's like I can either sulk in that and be really fucked up about it, or figure, hey, this happened for that. And that's probably why that happened for that. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think everything happens for a reason? Like, do you believe in the butterfly effect and everything?
Yes, I do. But I also believe in just weird shit, accidental shit, that it doesn't play a role in this or that, or it's not God, or it's not the universe, or it's just shit happens. I definitely believe that as well. But I do believe that certain things happen for a reason. Like my whole life set up, the structure, those things happening, that was definitely for a reason. I think I spent a lot of time like questioning God, being upset about it, until I started putting those positive spins on it. Like, okay, maybe if that wouldn't happen, then that and that and this, to where it kind of makes you appreciate those bad things because you see where you are now. And then it's like, if this didn't happen, maybe it wouldn't have been this, Like if these things didn't make me the person I am, maybe I wouldn't have a deal, or maybe I wouldn't have been able to see things through. But I definitely believe that certain things happen for a reason.
And it's a lot worse for your mental health, I feel like, to focus on the problems rather than the ways you can solve the problems.
Most definitely. So that's why I just try to always be like, okay, but at the end of every negative, it's always that but. Try to find.
And it's like, how can you take the problem and put a positive spin on it to turn it into something positive, something that can produce growth? I mean, that's another thing, right? It's like every challenge you go through, every problem you go through, every hardship you go through in your life, it produces growth. And then that growth can get you to the next stage, and et cetera, et cetera. It just keeps moving.
Yep. And then you'll have to grow from there. And then you have to grow from there. I'm learning life is never-ending growth. Like, we grow until we go. That's how I feel. And it's like...
That's a bar.
That was off the top, okay? But yeah, like, I feel like we definitely just will always have these things. Like, I feel like they'll probably lighten up at some point, but we'll always have these things that we have to look at as, like, these pivotal points or these growth spurts, And they might not always be the best situations, but
But things come in phases. Yeah.
Exactly.
Things come in. There's good phases and there's bad phases of your life, but everything comes in phases and waves.
Exactly.
On your project, your last project, Taylor Made, I noticed you had some features on it. You had Larry June on it, and then Be Legit.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the studio working with a different producer, or not different producer, a different artist and different collaborator, how does that change your process? Like, how different is it for you?
Well, with these two features, I wasn't in the studio with them.
Okay.
It was kind of like a send back kind of thing. So it really didn't change the process at all. Actually, not at all. It was kind of like I was actually happy we were able to do it like this because I feel like with these big names, I probably would have been a little bit intimidated. I'm not gonna lie.
I get it.
Like Larry June is here. Oh my God. And he has his thing to where he comes and he knows he's going to sip his tea. He's going to listen. He's going to do this. I really don't have that. I just kind of can go in and feel it. I might like talk a little bit. I might go out and smoke. Like, I guess you can say that is my routine, but I just feel like that would have been kind of intimidating for me. So I'm kind of glad it was a send over thing. And shout out to them both because they killed like the ideas. They understood the assignments, I guess you could say. And they really came out great. Both of those features complemented both tracks.
For sure.
Well.
Yeah, for sure. That Larry verse on that song, I felt like he really fit like the R&B vibe of the whole FaceTime thing. Like it very much like hit. It very much like I feel like he understood the flavor of the song.
Yes,
so
and he was excited to do it. He was like, yes, I needed something like this. You know, I needed something like this. Man, Larry, if you watching this, man, let's finish that video, bruh. Let's finish that. Dang.
Shout out Larry June.
We waiting on that right now, you know. But he's a busy man. Busy man. So I look forward for that.
Are you somebody who's like bounced back and forth from a lot of studios over the years, or was there one studio that you worked at for a long time?
Yeah, I was in Empire for like a year.
Oh, okay.
I did my whole album at Empire. I'm just now like kind of branching off and doing my own thing. But I'm about to work on a second album and stuff, and so I'll be back in there again like a lot more. But yeah, for a year straight from like October to I'm lying. December to December. Like
wow.
I was just in there all the time, just cutting records. Not everything made the album, but I just felt like I needed to build up my ammunition because I went into Empire with nothing. That's why I'm so grateful for Empire because me out of all people, and that's how I know that my vision and my dream had somewhat to do with things happening because I didn't have like 200 songs in a vault for them to listen to. I don't have crazy amounts of follows. I don't do numbers on like streaming or likes even. And they blessed me with a deal, like, you know? So I just went there to kind of just build up my catalog and try to find these records for the album and things like that. So
how'd that happen? If I can ask this, how'd that happen? How did they first reach out to you and kind of get involved?
Okay, so
I don't know if that's something I can ask. Hope it is.
No, you're good. I'll just, tweak it up.
I got you.
But like I said, I gave my all in for that Drowning record, and I dropped the video and the audio at the same time. It went crazy. Like, I think I put like $100 on YouTube for promotion.
So that was when you went all the way to Baltimore to record, right?
And that was on some fluke stuff. Like, I went out to see this girl. It ended up being like a little catfish situation. So
Whoa.
I'm like, yeah, let me find a studio.
Like the show, yeah.
Yeah, I do not feel like dealing with you.
Yeah.
Found a studio, GGM, Jono, shout out to Jono. And like, I was nervous there. I knew like when I recorded, I was all shaky and stuff. Like, but it turned out being good. So I dropped the video, I dropped the audio, everything was good. And my DMs were going crazy. Like, the likes were going crazy. Like, I overlooked so much stuff that I even look at now. Like, dang, how did I miss this message, bro?
Yeah.
But luckily, I didn't miss Nima's. Nima, he's the COO of Empire, like really close with Gazi. And he sent me a message like, yo, this track is dope. Like, what are you doing this week? Like, I want to link up with you. I want to see if we can meet.
Wow.
My instant thing is like, okay, you got a blue check, but who are you, Nima _Empire? Let me click. And then I saw like, oh, this is for real. Like, this is for like, he's right here with Gazi. Then my next thing was like, okay, let me see who follows him. Okay, Gazi follows him. Like, what's up? And I was like 2 days late. So I'm like, oh my God, like, thank you. Like, this means a lot coming from you. Like, what's up? I can meet whenever. He's like, come tomorrow, 4 o'clock. I came, 4 o'clock. It was him, Tina Davis, and my product manager at the time. She was there. and they listened to a couple tracks. They was like, you know, we definitely want to work with you. We want to resurface some of your stuff. Cool. But that was in October. I was on ice until like December. So I kept going to work. You feel me?
Like so over a year.
Yeah, like we kept going to work, like just doing my regular stuff. And in December, they hit me back and was just like, check your email. And boom, the contract was there. Went over it with a couple of lawyers and stuff, and signed.
Wow, that's crazy that it took that, like, you waited that long in between.
Right.
Did you have any like when that, you know, when you got the deal and you got the actual opportunity, did that come at a bit of a surprising time? Like, were you even thinking about it anymore?
Yeah, well, no, it was 2 months after. So like October.
Oh, okay. I think you meant the next one.
Nah. It was like October, but then like for those 2 months, I was thinking, okay, we gonna do this today. Like you said, you had to go on a trip to the Bahamas, and when you got back, you was gonna tap in. You're back, and I haven't heard anything. So I'm like, what went wrong? Like, did they hear something about me? Like, did they hear a track that made them change their mind? Like, nobody's reaching out to me. Do I reach out to them? But the studio was open to me. So sorry to cut you off, but so as soon as like you were in that network and kind of in that ecosystem, that studio just becomes available to you in all the Empire resources, correct? Yes. And it's like not like they say, okay, we're going to put you in with this person that day. And the next day, you're going to be that. It's just like, I have a session at 12, and Neff has a session at 2. We can't smoke in here, but everybody has to smoke outside. Yeah. So it just creates this thing for just people to start talking and being like, hey, what's up, bruh? Ain't you blah, 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 blah?
That's so fire.
Or I heard this and I heard that. And that's what was happening to me. Like, people like Neff, the Pharaoh, was coming up to me like, I heard your song. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
yeah, that's wild.
Me, you know? So it's cool. That's how they open you up. Like, once they throw you in there, it's kind of just up to you.
That's super sick.
You know? Because, like, everybody's here. Everybody's here. So what are you going to do? We put you in here. So what are you going to do?
So you just booked their engineer or whatever, and you're just like, oh, okay, I got a session for this hour. That's crazy to me. I had no idea that's how it was.
Yeah, it's like just walking past Money Man or walking past Jack Boy, like, is that Jack Boy? Is that Money Man? Yes, that is. And then after a while, I just started being like, oh, what's up, Jack? Oh, what's up? Like, you know, like regular stuff. And
you start to realize they're just people.
Yeah, you know? And it's just like dope that like I'm amongst this, you know? Like, these are people that I followed 10 times on Instagram that never followed me back. You know, now they're like, hey, comment on my shit. Like, Maury, where you at? Like, come to the studio or blah, blah, blah. And like little shit like that is what I dreamed of. Like,
of course.
Damn, why the blue check's not in my comments? Like, for one, I want a blue check. I'm still waiting on that. But like, you know, just to see it happening in real time, it's like amazing to me. So yeah, they throw you in there, and what's theirs is yours.
That's so sick.
Yeah,
that studio's in the city?
Yeah, it's in San Francisco.
Have you ever worked in like a studio of that caliber before that point? Like something with that, I imagine the resources they have there and the whole system's probably pretty crazy.
Yeah. No. This was it. This was the first for me.
Yeah.
So, but now, like, you know, I can go to other studios and be like, oh, that reminds me of Empire, you know? But no, it was definitely from somebody who's recording like off the phone and sending it to the computer to kind of mix it, because I kind of know what I'm doing. Like, it's everything for me. And I think that's another reason why they gave me that resource, because they asked me that, like, how are you recording? Like, I'm like, I'm at my mama's house, like in a closet, you know, or I'm on my phone, and they're like, nah, you're too dope for that. Just come home, you know? So yeah, it's definitely dope.
That's pretty crazy. I think it's cool that when they kind of, I don't know, that like from my perspective, I would imagine like a bigger reason why they gave you that opportunity is probably when you went to met with them, they just saw that you know how to navigate and move around people like that, and then they don't feel weird putting you in that setting with all those other big names, because they know you're not gonna go and make a fool out of yourself, because you know how to move, you know how to navigate yourself in those spaces.
For sure. And most importantly, I just feel like they see it in me, like you know what I don't see in myself, like you know. They just see it in me, and it's like I had a lot of people vouching for me before I got there, because I left that out. Nemo only saw the video because Rex Life Raj sent it to him.
Oh wow,
you know?
Okay.
Rex Life Raj, and it was crazy because the night before I checked my message and saw this. I was in the car, my sister's on the way to Popeyes. Rex Life Raj.
Rex Life Raj.
That's her dude, right? So, like, we slapping him and all this and all that, and he sends it to him, and he's like, by the time we got out of our meeting, it was in, like, everybody's email, but all off of just this one person. And they told me straight up, we don't look at stuff with, you only had, like, 500 views when we saw it. We don't look at that. But it was because of who sent it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Those relationships are very important. Like, it's because of who sent it that we want to give you this opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So,
that can be, I mean, that's probably an interesting and good thing and a valuable thing to hear for small artists who watch these. It's like learning that, you know, I don't know, DMing Empire 10 times a day isn't going to do you much good. Like,
I'm telling you, like, Ghazi doesn't see it.
Yeah, of course
There's
not.
a whole, the person you think runs that page, I promise,
of course
it's
not,
not, it's not Ghazi. It's not Ghazi. He'll never see it. And he actually encourages artists to not do that.
Yeah.
And, like, even people ask me, like, what's up? How do I get on with Empire? I wish I had the answers.
Yeah.
I wish I did, because I would have did it for myself 10 years ago. But all I can say is just, like, somebody's watching, even if you don't think they're watching. Raj didn't like that post. Raj didn't comment. No, he liked it, but he didn't, like, comment on it.
How would
he
you
didn't
know?
say, like, oh, I'm finna send this over to everybody at Empire. It was just he's been watching, you know? Like, he watched and he saw it happen. So, yeah, like, yeah, man, it's all about the relationship. So, yeah, they just threw me in there based off of that.
I mean, I don't know, though. I guess, like, if somebody were to ask, like, how do I get put on with Empire? Like, if somebody was asking you that, I would almost be like, oh, you know, you worked 10 years like Mari did. Like
type shit. Like,
yeah.
you know, like, really. And, like, I try to give them, like, literally my formula. And I tell them all the time, I can tell you exactly what I did.
Yeah.
But I can't say that that's going to work for you. You know? I did, boom, 4 videos. I told myself I'm going to drop 4 videos back to back to back. On the 4th one, which was Drowning, boom, it happened. But that's because that first one and that second one and that third one, those 100 views in a year,
Turn into 2,000.
You feel me? One of those 100 people mattered.
Well,
all of them mattered.
Well,
but you know what I'm
one of them was Rex Life Rush.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And boom, here we go. So yeah, that's all I can say. But that's my next answer. I'm still in it.
Yeah.
Work 10 years.
Work 10 years.
Put in 10 years.
Fail 1,000 times, try 1,000 things, figure out all these things that don't work to eventually land on the one thing that you never thought would but did.
That is my next answer.
Yeah.
I swear that's from today on, that is the answer.
Work 10 years.
Work 10 years. Just fail, get up, fall,
exactly.
get up again. It's going to happen.
Yeah. You got to mess up.
You know, keep it, and most importantly, just keep it on your mind. See it for yourself. See everything for yourself. I seen everything that I'm living now. I saw it for myself. From the chain I got on to the deal with this specific label to me moving to LA, like, bro, like, just see it for yourself. Because if you can see it, I feel like it could really happen.
I think so too. I don't think you dream anything that isn't possible.
No, for real.
Like, I really don't think your mind is capable of dreaming of something that isn't possible.
If it ain't possible. Like, it's there. It's stored there.
For a reason.
For you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, literally everything you need to know is already within you.
Yeah, for real. It's just a matter of unlocking it and, you know, tapping into it or wanting to tap into it. Learning, getting the knowledge to tap into it.
Locking in and recording your entire project at Empire, what was it like sitting down, doing the front to back album experience? How do you think you grew from just making a project, like putting your full length out?
That was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I'm
That's
not gonna
awesome.
lie, because I don't create like that. Like, I have spurts of these good records. Like, before Drowning, it was like 5 years I had a song called Be Like That I thought that was gonna be my one, but it wasn't. It did very good though. Like, everybody was on it. And then here we are 5 years later with this song. So, like, I kind of have spurts of creating good records. So to have to do 12 like that, it was like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on? Like, but once I tapped in, it was good to go. And once I stopped putting so much pressure on myself, like, and understood I had a team of people around me to help me with these things. Like, I've never been good with asking for help. But once I understood that these people are around to help me, even if I can't think of a bar or even if I need some beats or whatever, like, you know, it kind of helped once I got settled in. I'm saying, like, the first month, because I was still on that kick of, I'm not asking nobody for nothing. Like, I'm here. That's enough. They got me here. Do not ask these people for anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Be independent.
Yeah.
But having a team that understands, like, you know, that you aren't all the way there yet, can be very beneficial.
And I mean, that's like probably a really hard thing to break out of as an artist that literally like did it from the ground up for so much time. Like you were so used to doing everything yourself and literally forcing yourself to make these opportunities happen.
Most definitely.
That I'm sure it was hard to rely on somebody else to give them to you.
Still is to this day.
Of
Like my
course.
manager will be like, "Hey, I'm finna hit them up. I'm about to send them an email and this time." I'm like, "No, let's wait. Let's not do this right now. Like let's hold off," because I'm still in that kind of mindset of like, let's not really rely on anybody. We can do it ourselves because we did it ourselves. But,
I love that. Yeah.
like we did it. We did it. The reason they see us and we were exposed to them, they already saw us. So it's like, let's kind of minimize asking them for things or like, I don't know. But it's not asking when like you're assigned to these people. Like, you know, it's kind of like a thing that has to be done. It's just hard for me to do it. It's hard for me to ask or like, I hate asking the same question twice.
Yeah.
But I understand that in this industry, sometimes you just have to do that.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
you have to ask like
things
200
don't happen.
times.
Things move so slow.
They really do. And I'm kind of like, okay, we asked them twice. Did it. They're ignoring us.
Yeah.
Did it. They don't like me. Like, something's not right. Just leave them people alone. We'll figure it out. But I'm learning that, you know, we gotta just, from a business aspect, having that team that'll speak for you and that'll vouch for you. Very important.
I feel like at the highest level, you almost can't do it all by yourself.
You can't.
You just really can't. And that's
possible.
the highest level of everything.
That's not possible.
I've talked about, I feel bad. I've talked about this in like 3 interviews in a row, but there's this concept in this book by Napoleon Hill. It's called Think and Grow Rich, and it's the concept of the mastermind. It's like, imagine yourself with a team of the best qualified people sitting at a table with you. Right. What would you tell them, and what would you have them do? It's like, imagine that, and that's how you will build that. Because if those people have problems with each other, and they have conflicts, like, it's not going to work. You need to be one collective unit of a group of people working towards one common goal.
Right. And that's exactly, I'm in the middle of building that right now. And at least just learning everything so that when I do sit down with these people, my team, I'm able to say, hey, okay, I need you to do this, and no, like, this is what I need you to do, and I need you to do this and you to do that. Right now, I can't really say that I know that. So I think that me navigating through the industry, learning, falling down, getting back up, I'm learning all of these positions so that when it comes to me, as I know it will, I'm able to effectively have these goals to give everybody, have these specific tasks for everyone toward one common goal, and we make it work like that. But right now, I feel like I'm learning everybody's task.
Yeah.
Everybody's task so that I can just, you know, I know what I want when it comes to these things being done. You know?
It's like building the force, and then also knowing, like, within that team, like, what you lack and what other people can give you, and knowing your strengths and weaknesses and finding people to fill in the gaps.
Most definitely.
When you were making the album, was sequencing and, like, you know, making the track list and compiling everything, was that something that came difficult to you, or were like any of those songs that you had pre-recorded, or were they all stuff you locked in and made an empire?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I was like, let's put all the hits at the top. Boom, 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 boom. They're like, no, you can't. You can do that, but that's not how it works, you know? Yeah. So I had a good team, like my A&R, Dre. He helped me like with that whole sequencing thing. I had a lot of help, even as far as like structures of songs. Like, people would come in and like restructure songs for me, like, oh, this doesn't have a first verse, this doesn't have this, or this needs that. If that's your hook, why is it at the, like, stuff like that. But then what I respect the most about them is they were like, you know what, we're gonna stop doing that because you're on to something. That's your thing. That's when you go into interviews and stuff, you can talk about you not being like that, you not doing things the traditional
like everybody
way.
Else,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? You put your hook before your verse, but that's what you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now I just take it and run with it. Like, you know, I do me, like the whole thing. Like, I just do me. So I did have a lot of help, but then the help started being like, you know what? We're not even helping you. Like, we're actually messing you up.
Like, let me take a step back.
Yeah, do your thing. We vibe with this. Just do your thing, you know? So it was help. It was help. But then it was like not help, if it makes sense. It was help. But yeah, I'm going to just count it as help because it helped me have that point of like, okay, you're not like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, you have your own structure, your own thing, your own, like, if they wouldn't have said that, I wouldn't have knew that. I would have still been trying to, like, okay, first verse, hook, like, really structure it like that. So
I mean, specifically with song structures, I feel like sometimes the songs that pop are the ones with the most, like, non-conventional structures, because you're giving somebody, like, a different psychological experience.
Yep.
Like, you're giving, like, it's different than the average, like, verse, hook, verse, hook, verse, hook.
Yeah, like, bridge and this and that. Like, songs aren't even that long anymore. So it's like, yeah. I had help. I had help. Moral of the story, I had a little help.
What about, like, the title and, like, the album cover and everything? What was the vision behind the whole tailor-made thing? Was it literally just a play on your name, or was there anything more to it?
Yeah, it was just like a play on my name. Like, I lost my dad, and that was his whole thing. Like, I'm tailor-made, one of a kind. That's why it's crazy that song that blew, it's because of that one part. Like, people sing that one part. Tailor-made, one of a kind. I promise another like me you'll never find. My dad said that to me every day. Every day he had it tatted on him. So I just wanted to do something like in remembrance of him. But throughout the whole journey, I was learning a lot about myself as well. And like the cover, I'm doing everything and being everybody because that's really how it went. Like, I tailor-made myself.
You made your opportunities.
It was tailored for me. Like Maury Taylor did tailor-made. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really did everything as to like, what I was going to wear, the concept for my videos, the concept for that. It was just a lot of stuff that I felt like I had to do. So that's what influenced the cover art. Like, and it's tailor-made because Maury Taylor made it.
And all that stuff matters too. I think people, when they think of musicians, it's like they just think of like, oh, you sit down, you make music, people either like it or people don't. But no. It's your music, your image, yourself,
creative direction,
everything.
You have to style your own self sometimes, especially like when you're not making money for all these people to come in and do it. So
it's selling yourself. It's selling yourself as a brand and an idea. If you can get people to buy into you as a brand and buy into you as an idea, they'll consume anything you do, be it a song, be it merchandise, be it a vlog, whatever. You know what I mean?
And I feel like tailor-made was a good starting point, a good foundation for that, because just because my name is Maury Taylor, that doesn't stop you from being tailor-made. You know what I'm saying? Or anybody for that matter, because tailor-made is one of a kind. You ain't gonna find another like you. Ain't gonna find another like Jerron. Ain't gonna find another like me. Like, I feel like everybody can relate to that. So it was just that foundation, that first album. I wanted that to be like the foundation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Introducing it to where like when I use that term on a vlog or I use that term on some merch, it's like, oh, I can wear that even though my name is not Maury Taylor. I'm Taylor. You know what I'm saying?
I love the idea of that on merch.
You feel me? That'd be dope.
Coming soon. Tailor-made. That's funny. Having projects out now, would you call your first project the one you did before Tailor-made like an EP? More or less. So having put out, I guess, 2 official projects, how do you feel you've learned and progressed as a musician through the album process? Like just locking in. Like what do you think that taught you?
Oh man, just to actually go in and like we were talking about earlier, being vulnerable, being just straight up honest. I feel like a lot of these projects were kind of hard for me or frustrating for me because I'm not letting things flow. I'm not just, thinking about what I just did today that I could write about. Or just, I think now that I've released those 2 projects, I know now when I go in the studio, don't be too hard on yourself. Think about what you just did when you walked in. That's a song right there. Think about the drive here. Think about just being easier on myself through these processes because the first 2 were very hectic for me. So I feel like going in now, I know, even as far as my terms, I know to tell my engineer, no, I want this, and I know that, and no, take that off, or go back to that part right there.
Bring the high end up a little bit, change those,
I learned like little stuff like that, and I'm excited to like put it to work with this next. I have 2 more albums under Empire that I have to get done. So on this next one, I'm gonna really work on trying to like lock in and be that artist, no longer this new person in the industry, not this person seeking a deal, but okay, you're here. So let's move like we're here. You did the whole process, this and that.
The come up's over. You're here now.
You're here now. So I think this next project or in any of them to come will be kind of on that wave. Like you're here. Don't think about it too much. Don't try to give people what you think they want to hear. Really, be Maury, And I think that's what I've learned.
How close to done is it? It's rough stages.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
feel you.
coming. It's coming together. It's coming together. But it's just even being able to be like, okay, this is a good song, but it's not album.
Yeah, I get
You know what I'm
that.
saying? Or this is a very good song, but how is this cohesive to what you're trying to talk about? You know?
Do you tend to accumulate a big vault of songs that get cut from your projects?
Nah. But
No.
this year, that's what I'm working on. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to cut like 200 songs.
Just get in there and make stuff.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Say not anything, but anything can be something. I'm learning art is art. Nobody can tell you how to do it, how to say it, what to say, what not to say, you know? So just, yeah, that's my goal this year.
Especially when you're creating on like a serious basis, a serious everyday basis.
Yes.
You're not always gonna go into the studio every single day with some grand, like super like interesting and deep concept to talk about. Sometimes you're just gonna make a fun song about what you did last night or something.
Exactly, and that's why I have to be lighter on myself, because when I go in, if I don't have that hit, I'm irritated. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like this is not it. This is not it. Of course it's not. You're not gonna always have that. That's what I'm trying to tell myself, because like I beat myself up for stuff like that. Like if it's not that one, I'm not ever okay. I want to go back in and try to add this or take this away to try to make it that, when it's just not that. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that the next one won't be, or the one after that, or the one after that. I think the key is just to keep going, and that's where I've always stunted my growth. I just kind of get discouraged and stop.
Even circling back to what you were talking earlier, I think if you're creating every day on a basis like that, that's why it's even more important to do what you said, what you were talking about earlier, and just have that time of self-care.
Yep.
Keep your mental straight, because
Most
otherwise,
definitely.
when you walk into the studio every day, you're not gonna be in a mood to create.
You know, it's just gonna throw it off. Like,
Yeah.
you know what? Let's just cancel all this. I'll be back. Like, you know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did that numerous sessions. Like, you know, like 4 more hours left. But because the first thing I recorded didn't sound how I wanted it to, I'm like all discouraged and beat up about it. And I just want to leave. I feel embarrassed. And, you know, it's just like, I'm out of that stage now, though. That's
Yeah.
why I'm very excited to for this next one.
Yeah. Word. Do you have like one collective goal for the next project? Anything, something you wanted to do, something you wanted to be on it? Like, what's your biggest intention and biggest goal with your sophomore release?
Definitely more features. I want
Yeah.
more features on my album. And I think that I could have had them on the first one, but I was not like how I am now. Like, I didn't want to go and ask these people, or feel like I'm going to walk over in the next studio and ask this person to get on. Like, I'm past all that now. Now I feel like I want to, you know, talk more, network more, you know, get those features more, get in with different producers more, all off of just talking and network, like being in that place. I took being in Empire for granted, hence me moving like a couple months after. Like, I
Yeah.
just took myself out of that whole little network, you know? And that's probably the reason I only had 2 features, because I wasn't there to be like,
Yeah.
bro, check this out, listen to this. You trying to hop on? Come over here. Like, you know, it was that easy. Just walk over here.
All
and
the
hop-
natural stuff is taken out of the equation when you're not there.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I kind of came back for this project to, you know, make that happen. I
Yeah.
definitely want more natural work on this next album. Not I have to call up Nima to try to get this person to send back their verse, or I need to call this producer to figure out where are the stems, or have them do it because they lined it up. No, I want everything to be like natural off of my own relationships. You know, relationships go a long way.
Yeah.
To where even if I didn't have the label, I have these relationships. You know?
Well, it's past that now.
Yeah, exactly,
it's grown past
exactly,
that.
exactly. So if it all failed right now, I would want to be able to at least fall back on the relationships that I created, or the networking that I've done, you know?
And then that's when the tracks honestly become more genuine and sound more genuine and sound more honest too. It's when you guys
Most
are
definitely.
when you're making music with a friend of yours, you know?
Most definitely. And,
Yeah.
and I got to get back in the mix so that, you know, these people, now they like, dang, Maury, like, we don't see you at all. Like, we thought you forgot about us. And it's
Yeah.
like, I just moved, and, you know? So, yeah,
Hey.
that's the goal.
Yeah,
That's
man.
the goal.
I'm really excited to hear the new project. I'm excited you're back in the Bay.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you doing this. We got a lot to do another one. We got a lot of stuff to
It's
talk
all
about.
good. Thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate what you're doing. I fuck with your platform.
That's love. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Tell them where they can find you. Tell them where you're at. What's anything you got dropping.
Yes, follow me at Big Maury Taylor on everything, across every platform. And if it's not Big Maury Taylor, you're going to find Maury Taylor somewhere. But it's Big Maury Taylor, I'm pretty sure. The album's coming. Everything's coming. Until then, make sure y'all run up. I'll call you back. And Taylor Made, most importantly. They bop. Trust me. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you, Mari. Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you.
All right. Music matters.